All right, so this demo is going to be on how to get started with the Tuscan plan. It's going to be pretty much from the very beginning. I'm going to start the file as a brand new file. So we're going to go ahead and go to Models. We're going to go to New. Really important, don't choose this construction template. It's not the one we're looking for. We want to choose the architectural template. Okay, architectural template, and hit OK. And that's going to open up a brand new file. And, the browser should look pretty familiar to you. It looks just like we've been doing here for the last few weeks there with the Revit demos. What we want to do immediately is go ahead and just do a save as. Give me a second here. I'm working from home, so it goes a lot slower. My laser fast Wi-Fi here. Come on. Actually, this isn't even the Wi-Fi. This is just my computer being slow right now. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to do a save as. I'm going to save as a project. And I'd like you to save it as your first name, last name, Tuscan plan. Let's see, where should I save this? Oh my goodness. So my computer's wigging out on me now. I'm going to go here. And I'm going to call this Bill Brown Tuscan plan. I want you to do the same thing. First name, last name, Tuscan plan. I'm just going to call this virtual. Okay. You don't do that. That's just going to be me. I do this demo a few times, so I've got a few copies. All right. And so save. So this is gonna, now you're pretty much just gonna keep saving, just save, and you'll be just refreshing this thing as we go through. As this thing is saving up, my goal here is to get all the doors, walls, windows, roofs, ceilings, floors, all the stuff we're gonna need for this project kind of ready to go. Almost like we're building a big Lego set or something like that. And we're gonna get all the smart walls made, smart floors. So when we do the design process, it won't complicate things. So that's the strategy. So we're gonna start by creating basically some smart walls. Close a couple things here. And I'm just gonna open up a little Google. So I wanted to show you just, what a stud is. So we're going to do our walls. You probably recognize what a stud is in a wall. If I go to images, it's the frame of the wall. It's the inside part of the wall. These are called wall studs. They're the pieces, the members that form the inside of the wall. Now, of course, your walls don't look like this. They've got drywall or gypboard on the outsides that make it, a solid piece. But that's what these are going to be called. They're going to be called studs. Now, they come in different sizes. You've probably heard of 2x4s and 2x6s and 2x8s and stuff like that. When they give those words, they like this. If this is a 2x4, a 2x4 is really not 2x4. It's 1.5 by 3.5. So this thing is not 4 inches deep. It's 3.5 inches deep. If it was a 2x6, it wouldn't be 6 inches deep. It would be 5.5 inches deep. So there's these real world sizes for these members, not what they call them. So almost like a 2x4 is almost like a nickname because it's close, but it's not really how big they are. All right, we need to know that because when we model this thing, we have to use true sizes. All right, so that said, let me just minimize that and bring back my Revit. So the first thing I'd like to do is I would like to create some smart walls. I am on page 126 in the book. And what I'm going to give you here is right here. It's verbatim. I'm going to give you these pictures. I'm going to go a little fast in the demo because it's all right here in the book. And of course, you have the video. When I do it in class, I kind of do it and let everybody do it and wait and stuff like that. So I'm just going to mow down this thing. I'll show you some of how to get to the library and all that stuff. You'll see me do that as well, and how to get to the materials and how to find them and all that stuff. So just be aware of that. as I go through and mow these things down. So the first play here is we're going to create what would be in essence like a bedroom wall, you know, one between your bedroom and your sibling's bedroom. Okay, nothing special about it, just a regular interior wall between your bedroom and the hallway. All right, and here's the way it goes. We're going to go to wall and wall. Now, just like we do with some objects, it's nice to start with something and then edit, type, and duplicate and make your own. We're going to start with this interior 4 7/8 partition wall. It's very close to what we want. And I'm just going to go ahead and plop it in. You can make it about 20 feet or so. It doesn't have to be perfect, just something like that. In fact, I'm going to zoom in on it so you can see it better. Escape. I'm going to set the display level to medium. And then if I zoom in on it, you'll sort of see the, the components of the wall. There's a skinny part, a thick part, and a skinny part. The skinny parts here are the gypboard. It's the part on the outside of the wall. And then the inside here would be what's going to be the structural part of the wall, that stud that I'm showing you. All right. Now, on this particular wall, the one that I got out of the box here, this 4 7/8 partition, it's close to what we want. Like I said, but it's not the same. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to edit type on that, and we're going to duplicate. I'm going to clone it. And the name I'd like you to give it is what's going to be in it. So in this case, I'm going to put my initials. Put your initials in front of everything when you make your stuff, by the way, in my class. And then what it is. Well, there's going to be 5/8 gyp. So there's going to be a piece of drywall, and it's 5/8 of an inch thick. And then we're going to have the 2x4, which is actually 3.5. I'll call that a stud. And then 5/8 gyp. And that's the other side of the wall. So we name the walls what's in them. All right, and hit OK. So I've cloned the 4 7/8 wall by duplicating it. And now I'm working on it. So we're going to go over here to this Edit Structure button. And I'm just going to just drag this out a little bit so you can see what's going on here. Just a little bit like that. Because I'm going to use this Preview button. See that there? So it kind of shows you what's going on there. It's sort of what you're seeing from the plan view. So what I'm looking for, this is very close to what I want. I have gypboard. I just would like you to put this on Finish 1. I'll explain this later. Don't worry about it. Just go and kind of do what I tell you to do. And I'll explain more later. If I start explaining things like this, I get into the weeds and everybody's confused. All right, now here's the part that's not what we want. This is not what we want. That's the part you're going to have to change. We're going to do a 2x4, which is 3.5 inches. 0 space 3.5. And that's going to give us 3.5 inches. And then the material we're going to bring in, I would like it to be basically a timber C16. Now the timber C16 is not here. No timber C16. It is in this little material library. Now if you don't see this, there's a little button here on your computer. And you may not see that. And you're going to have to just hit this little guy and kind of open it up. You also might want to just make this material box really big as you can make it, because the more scrunched it is, the harder it is to see stuff. And again, all these pellets can be stretched and so on. All right, once you have that open, I'd like you to go to Home and hit that little arrow to the left. We're going to go to AEC Materials, and what we're looking for is wood. So if I go down to wood here, we're going to get a series of woods. Now, these are materials that we can bring into our material library that we might not have right here. The one I'm looking for, I'm actually looking for two of them we're going to use here. Almost all the way to the bottom here is this Timber C16 and the Timber C24. What this represents is being the timber being 16 inches on center. It's how far they're spaced apart. And then sometimes they're spaced apart a little bit farther apart, like 2 feet, 24 inches. I want both of these. So I'm going to hit this little up arrow. And when I do, this little up arrow right here, it's going to put it up into my palette. I like to do the same thing with this C24. And I want that as well, because I'm going to use both of these. The one I want right now, though, is the 16. Okay, so there it is, the Timber C16. Take a picture. If you're on page 126 in the book, it should look exactly like this. I'm going to make this just a little more, move this way a little bit. Sorry, I made this box just a little bit big. There we go. Okay, I'm going to hit OK. And hit OK. And what I have is my first smart wall. This is going to be a wall we use to, make a lot of our interior walls, like I said. Now, that wall is great, and it works fantastically most of the time. However, there's some issues on the inside where it doesn't work. Here's one of the issues. I'm going to slide my Word document over here a little bit. And I'm just going to mosey on down here. This is all the stuff I just did here. So I'm just kind of page 127. There's the timber. There's the AC materials. I chose this C16. Talk about the fact that a 2x4 is not really 2x4. It's 1.5 by 3.5. All right. And here is the problem. Let me just make this just a little bit smaller. So this is the problem. If you have a wall at your house that has water in it, like in a kitchen, bathroom, laundry room, places like that. Well, when you turn on the water or you flush the toilet or whatever you do, the water has to go somewhere, right? The poopy water or the dirty water or the clean water, you're just going down the sink when you're taking a shower or whatever it is. It all goes into this thing called a waste pipe. That's what this white pipe is. In the waste pipe, it meanders, where it needs to go in order to get the bad water out of the building. Okay, these, when they go horizontally, they actually go at a slight slope. Now, the problem with that is that these pipes can be kind of big. Like some of these, like the ones that come off the toilet, they can be 4 inches in diameter. I don't know if you can see the numbers on this or not, but some of the bigger parts will be 4 inches. Well, let me show you the problem with that. Move this back over. I'm going to make a little 4-inch little circle here. So I'm just going to go ahead and just, don't do this, just watch this part. Just going to draw a little detail line and draw a little circle. I'm going to make this circle 2 inches radius, which is a 4-inch diameter circle. So picture this as being that white pipe. And if I bring it over here, you'll notice that it does not fit in that space. It's hitting the drywall. So that can't happen. There's not enough room for it. So we have to have a bigger wall. And that's sort of what you were seeing on this picture. If you look at it carefully, what they did on this particular wall is they butted 2 2x4s next to each other. So they basically just put them side by side and then cut a hole sort of in the middle, and then the pipe went through. We don't need to make them that thick, although sometimes we do. In this particular case for our model, we don't. We just need to make a little bit thicker wall that will house the biggest pipe that we can put in there, which is that 4-inch one. And here's what you're going to do. Instead of having a 2x4 inside here, we're going to do a 2x6. So the 2x6 wall is going to look something like this. I'm going to take that wall, right-click, create similar, and make another one right next to it. So I'm just making another one just like this. So what I want to do is I want to make a wall that's a little thicker. It's going to be almost exactly like this. So I'm going to use this one. It's almost exactly the same. I'm going to edit type, and I'm going to duplicate. But instead of having a 2x4, which is 3.5, I'm going to have a 2x6, which is 5.5. And then this 2 at the end, it puts it on there because it's the same name. All right, so it should look just like that. 5/8 jib, 5.5 stud, which is a 2x6, 5/8 jib. So now I'm changing the 5.5 stud. Let's go ahead and do that. And that's going to be a 5.5. So all I need to do is that. That's the only change. Everything else is beautiful. Hit OK. And OK. So we're going to notice now is this wall is a wee bit thicker. So now if I took this this pipe, this 4-inch pipe, it'll fit. Okay? And that's kind of, we need the chase, the gap, if you will, in the wall that's big enough to hold that biggest pipe. Okay. All right, I'm going to delete that. I don't need that. Okay, so we're 1 down. So that would be an interior wall that would hold plumbing pipes. Could be a kitchen, say laundry room, bathroom, stuff like that. Okay, next. The next wall we're going to be doing is going to be, this is all stuff I just did. Good, good, good. That's what I just showed you, new smart walls. I'm not going to save yet, so just ignore that part. We're going to move on, and we're going to create this, this stucco wall. Because I hate to type, I'm going to just copy that. Because that's the name of the wall is gonna host, or it's gonna describe what goes into the wall, which is here on page 131. I'm just gonna make it verbatim, just like this. Let me just go ahead and make this bigger. You can do the same thing, by the way, if you can't see the stuff on my Word document, so you can see it a little bit better there. You should be able to read that at 200%. All right, so here we go. You're gonna take this one with the 5.5 stud. This is most closely relating to what I have. And we're going to create similar. And we're going to make one right next to it. Like that. Okay, this is not it, obviously, but it's a good start. So we're going to make this a pretty much thicker exterior wall that's going to have stucco on the outside. All right, so we're going to go ahead and edit type, and we're going to duplicate. And I'm just going to Control V that whole thing that I just copied from the Word document because I hate typing. The only thing I want you to change there is you can do this or you can just type it in however you want. I'm just going to go ahead and put my MB, Mr. Brown. You put your initials in front, okay? Don't put MB unless your name is MB. All right, so there I'm changing this one. So I'm just going to the edit. And I want you to just kind of follow the rules of the thing. Now, this should be perfect right here. This chip wall board, that is 100% correct. The structure is very close. We're just going to change this timber C16 to timber C24. That should be pretty easy. I'm just picking in this little box right here. When you do, it'll take to the material library. All right. And then everything gets all messed up. So now I'm working from inside, which is the gyp wall board. And then I'm hitting my 2x6. And then I'm hitting my plywood. So this is going to be a substrate. Plywoods are substrates. I'm going to make this a plywood. A little trick here. If we go up to the top and just type PLY, it'll hunt down anything that says PLY in it. And that's the one we want. Perfect. And then the thickness on that, on mine, is 3/4 of an inch. So that 5/8 is wrong. It's going to be 0 space 3/4. And again, if you don't have this little window box open here, it's just a preview button here. You just kind of, it's like a toggle. I like having it on. Just, you know, if you put something wrong in, like if for some reason you do, like some people go 5.5 and they think they did a good job, but that's like 5'6". And you can see over here that something's not right. And that's kind of a clue. It's like, oh yeah, then you look it over, but wait, why is my wall looking all weird over here? It's like, oh yeah, look at that. Oh yeah, okay. 0 space 5.5, and you're back in business. Yeah, if you don't see all the sections in there, you did something wrong. Okay, so working our way out, now we need to protect all this beautiful wood we have from the elements, from the water. So we need what's called a vapor barrier. So I'm going to insert, and that insert's going to go right above the plywood sheathing. By the way, these can go up and down, and you can move these around if you put them in the wrong spot. All right, the next one here, it's going to be, again, a vapor retarder. It's a membrane layer. Kind of the same trick. I'm going to just type VA. That's all, VA, and then there's your vapor retarder, because there's nothing else that says VA. All right, perfect. And so that's the next one. So now our woodwork, if you will, is protected from the elements. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go in and we're going to put in some rigid insulation. California has this really tough energy code, and in order to make walls in California energy efficient enough to work, they need this. It's almost like surfboard foam on the outside. It's called rigid insulation, and you're going to put some in. This is going to be a thermal air barrier, or that thermal air, and it's going to be rigid insulation. RIGID. There it is. And they have all kinds of stuff. It's not the stuff you see, the pink stuff. I know there's some pink here, but it's not the stuff that comes in rolls. This is a little different. It's like big sheets of like, best way to describe it would be like surfboard foam. All right, rigid insulation. I think I did 1.5 inches there, right? Yeah, 0 space 1.5. All right, and then you can see there's the rigid, and then we have one more step. We need to do the stucco. So I'm going to up here, and I'm going to insert again. And this one is going to be finish 2.5, the very top. And I think I have that at 1 inch. So space 1. And we need to go get some stucco. So go to the material library, and if you look under the S's for stucco, you are going to find that there isn't any. No stucco. So we need to go to our material library, and let's go get some. EC materials. The stucco is under plaster. And I think I have 3 or 4 stuccos. Yeah, 4 stuccos. I like the stucco course, but any one of these are fine. I have no problem with any of the ones you choose here. We'll eventually change it anyway, because we're going to have a certain color stucco we want to use. Okay, so now I've launched it up. There it is. And I'm going to hit OK. And now we have the wall texture stucco. I think that's the way it shows in the book. to the wall texture stucco. So look it over. That is what I'm looking for. That's exactly the units that I'm looking for in there. This is the exterior side, the stucco side, and then the interior side would be the gyp wallboard, the drywall. Hit OK. Hit OK. And you have yourself a stucco wall. In fact, if I go to the 3D view here, just for giggles, and put that in realistic, the stucco is ugly, by the way. Just it'll be nice when we render it, but right now it's going to look pretty ugly. So looks something like, boy, that's pretty rough. You can see it, barely see it there. It's kind of ripply there. All right. I think I'm going to throw a save on there because it's a really good idea. Okay, so those are the first three main walls. So now I would like to go make two more walls. Because of the Tuscan architecture style, they vary the types of walls they use. It's not just stucco. It's not just any one wall. They kind of mix it up a little bit. We'll be talking about throughout the course of the class so that you have these, I call it tools in your toolbox to do this stuff with. All right, so where I am right now, I'll come back to this page. I am right here on page 139. We're going to make this brick wall. It's going to be very similar to what we just did with the stucco wall. So that's going to be the one you want. And I'm just going to talk my way through it here. I think you'll find this one to be pretty easy. If you've done the, if you did the stucco wall correctly, then the brick wall is easy. All right, so here we go. I'm going to go ahead and create similar, and just making the same thing. It's just the same stucco wall there. So kind of like I did the other ones, I'm gonna make a wall from a wall. So I really like this wall. It's very close to what I want. So I'm going to edit type and duplicate. I'm going to break one of my rules. See, I'm not going to give this a name of all the stuff that's in it, although I should. And if you ever work for anybody, you never do what I'm going to do right now. Don't ever do it. Always give it the entire name, even if it looks like it's an essay or something. I'm just going to call this my MB T24 brick wall. Okay, just do it for it. I'm just trying to save some time here and not have these crazy long names. All right. Okay. So now I'm changing my MB Title 24 brick wall. I'm going to go to edit. The good news is the Title 24 brick wall is very similar to what we got here, just a couple of changes. This is 100% the way it is. This is good. This is good. This is almost good. On this one, oh, what happened to my vapor retarder? There should be a vapor retarder here, and I don't have one. So I'm going to insert, it got lost, so maybe I wrote over the top of it when I did my last demo. So I'm going to insert, I'm going to move that down, and I need a vapor retarder right on top of that plywood. So this is going to be finish, no, it's a membrane. And I don't know if you saw what I did, if you caught it, but what I did is I wrote over the top of one instead of adding a line. I wrote over the top of one. I'll have to go back and fix my last one too. All right, vapor retarder. Then we got our rigid insulation, and that should be 1 inch. I think I have on that one. A little different. Okay, and then here's where it gets funky. Brick walls, you know, the actual brick doesn't touch the rest of the wall. There's that air gap between it, and they attach the brick with these brackets to the wall. And then this air gap, which we're going to put in right now, we're going to insert. Let me move that down. This is going to be thermal air as well. A second here. Thermal air. And the material is literally going to be air. And do we have air as a material? Let's see. 100% yes. Okay, in fact, there's a couple errors in there. Okay, like that. And I think I've got 1 inch for the air. And then it goes to the brick. And the brick here is going to be brick. I'm just going to type. I got a few different types of brick in here. What we have here is fine. Any one of these would be fine. Either this one doesn't matter. Okay, so. And that brick is really thick. It's actually 0 space, 3 space, 5/8. It's 3 5/8. Don't ask me why it's 3 5/8. It's just what they are. All right. So, and so you see how thick it is there on the top there? This right there is an air gap. So the brick is literally not touching this. And what happens is the water wicks through the brick. This is the place where the water escapes, or the vapor escapes. And it kind of goes down this little trench, for lack of a better word, and then escapes out the bottom of the house. All right. I'm going to hit OK. And OK. And we have ourselves a brick wall. I'm going to go back and fix this one because I messed it up. If you were watching my demo here, you see how there's only 3 here. Beyond that substrate insert, I must have wrote over what I had there. That should be a vapor retarder. VA. So if when we changed these things, it's not rocket science. You see how easy that was. It was no big deal. And all done. No harm, no foul. All right. Okay. 4 down, 1 to go. All right. Our last one is going to be stone. So the stone wall is going to be almost exactly the same. Almost exactly the same. It's got an air gap as well. The stone is the same thing. It's they attach the stone wall to the house. In theory, if the stone wall falls down, the house is fine because it's just a facade. All right. Because we're not making this house out of stone completely. It's just like a stone face. All right. So here's our stuff. We're gonna do 5 inches of stone basically. We're gonna replace the brick with stone. So that part's real easy. So here we go. I'm gonna take this beautiful brick wall and create similar. Start to see a pattern here. I'm just kind of using one to make another one. That's what we do with walls and floors and stuff like that. All right. Let's go ahead and edit type and duplicate. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to change this from my MB Title 24 brick wall to my MB Title 24 stone wall. And let's go ahead and let's swap out the brick for some stone. You're going to have the same problem with stone. It's not going to be loaded. You can look all you want, but it's not going to be there. No stone. No stone. So we're going to have to come over here and get some. Stone, let's see, where would stone be? How about under stone? Now, I've got a bunch of different types of stone here. To be honest, none of these are going to be what we want. But for now, we'll go ahead and use this one, which is just as crappy as all the other ones. All right, again, we're going to make our own custom stuff later, but for now, that'll be fine. And you can see stone is there. That's good. And then we're going to do 5 inches. Stone is kind of random because it depends on how big a stones you want to use. All right, and that is our stone wall. Okay, okay. So what you should have now, if you've done this properly, are 5 walls: a 2x4 wall, a 2x6 wall, a stucco wall, a brick wall, and that stone is awful, isn't it? It almost looks like a countertop or something like that. That's probably what it is. All right, and ours will be way different than that. And a stone wall. All right, and I'm going to save my work. Now, in class, I subdivided this into, it's not I'm subdividing it now. I did the walls and I did some other stuff at the same time. I'm going to do this, kind of break it up into pieces for my demos. So this is the demo on how to do the walls, and I'm done. All right. So I'm gonna end this one, and then the next demo is going to be on how to make things like floors and ceilings and roofs, which you need, and which we covered in class. And if you missed it, then you need to watch the next video as well. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this one and see you on the next.